All right, the first thing I want to talk to you about before we actually start diving into this is what standard form and vertex form look like, because the next section is graphing them from standard form. All right, make sure you're not on your phone. You should already putting that up. Or put that up. I don't know what word I just created. Anyway. All right, standard form is going to be f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Everyone knows that f of x is simply another name for what? Function, and f of x is also known as y. This is just function notation. We actually get into that a lot more in chapter 7. But anyway, what you need to know, standard form of a quadratic function is ax squared plus bx plus c, where a, b, and c are real numbers. Can be any real number, decimal, fraction. A vertex form, which is what we're going to focus on today, f of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And all of these values, this a value, h value, and k value, play an important part in how you graph them. All right, you also need to take note that a cannot be 0. Can anybody tell me why a can't be 0? Exactly. Like it would make all of this go away. Like if this was 0, 0 times all of that, you would just have y or f of x equals k, a value. You would actually have a horizontal line left. You wouldn't have a quadratic. All right, I already told you, and maybe you've seen this in Algebra 1, but quadratic graphs look like what? Or in the shape of what? Or in the shape of U's. Quadratic graphs are parabolas. All right, let's talk about the vertex form, and let's talk about what all of these values do to your graph. Okay, if this number out front is positive, because your parabola is either going to go up or it's going to go down. So if A is positive, do you think it's going to go up or do you think it's going to go down? Up. So the number out front getting multiplied will tell you if your graph is going up or down. So if A is greater than 0, meaning positive, then your graph is going up. If a is less than 0, meaning negative, then it's going to flip your parabola down. All right, the next value is h. You're going to have some number added or subtracted to x, and it will be inside parentheses with x. If you don't see a number, or if you don't see parentheses and you only see x squared, then what is h? Good, it would be 0. If h was 1, you would see either x minus 1 or x plus 1. But if you don't see any parentheses and you only see something like this, like y equals 2x squared plus 3, there's no parentheses in that. No parentheses, so h would be 0. But we'll talk about that later. All right, anyway, this number will give you your axis of symmetry equation. Every parabola has an invisible line that splits it in half, or your axis of symmetry. And so you just simply get that by saying x equals h, and it's always going to be a vertical line. So in all of your homework problems, as you already can see on your paper that I gave you, I ask you to give me your axis of symmetry every time. And all it is, you just find what that number is and do the opposite of it. Notice that in the equation or your formula, you have minus h, but to get the axis of symmetry, I say x equals just h. So if this was x plus 3, then what would this be? Good, negative 3. So you can just make a side note if you want to, opposite of number with x. Okay, third thing, this is very important. This is where the formula gets its name. Your vertex point is going to come from HK. Notice that H is the opposite of the number with X. H is opposite number with X. And K is the same. Like all I do, if K is plus 2, then this is plus 2. If K is minus 3, or if this is minus 3 at the end, I put negative 3. So K stays the same. Okay, and where all of that all of that ties into, I'm just going to sketch a graph real quick. You don't have to do this. Am I going too fast? Are y'all good? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move it up some. All right, we already talked about your parabola. You're either gonna have one that goes up, or you're gonna have one that goes down. At the very bottom of your parabola, or the very top of your parabola, this point is called your vertex. So that's your vertex point. If your vertex point is at the bottom, this is called a minimum. If your vertex point is at the top, what do you think it's called? maximum. And you get it by HK. Okay, you're asked to graph this, and I'm gonna show you how you can use symmetry to help you find points. Like you're gonna have to plug in to get a couple of points, and you can use the fact that parabolas have symmetry to find a point on the other side of your axis symmetry line. Tell me, is this parabola going to go up or is it going to be down? Good. Why? Good, because 2 is positive. So the first thing that you need to do is get your vertex point. What is your vertex? And remember, you do the opposite of the number with X. So this is going to be positive 2, and I keep K the same. What if you didn't see a number added or subtracted at the end? And what would K be? 0. Good. So look out for that, because that'll throw people off sometimes. All right, vertex is 2, negative 1. Is this going to be, knowing that my parabola goes up, it's going to go up. Is this point going to be a maximum or a minimum? Minimum. Good. It's going to be a minimum. And you could, of course, you could wait till you graph it and you'll definitely be able to see that. All right, knowing that your vertex is at 2, negative 1, you could go ahead and sketch, or you could go ahead and sketch a graph and leave some room to the left and to the right of this vertex point to plot other points on your parabola. Or you could go ahead, what's your X value here? 2. So now you can plug in, you can either sketch a graph from this point or go ahead and plug in 2 X values near 2. Because the vertex point I know is halfway. So I either want to plug in 3 or plug in what? Yeah, you would either want to plug in 3 or 1. So let's say that I want to plug in 0 and 1. And I'm going to get see what my Y comes out to. And I'll show you, like if you're confused on that, I'll show you how you can actually just sketch it first in a second. But vertex is the middle point. So I want to plug in some x values either to the left of this, which would be 0, 1, or to the right, 3 or 4, to figure out what those points are and then use symmetry. All right, you have to plug it into your original. So I'm going to plug. You have to be really careful here. I see students mess up a lot on the order of operations. Okay, when you plug in 0 for x into this original, make sure that you square this first before you multiply 2. So when you, what will this part give you? 4 times 2, 8, minus 1, 7. So you have that ordered pair of 0, 7. And then what will this give you? All right, you got positive 1 times 2, and then minus 1. So your next ordered pair is 1, 1. Okay, now that we've got our vertex, we've got 2 other points, then you can, of course, sketch your graph. Okay, so let's say that you just knew your vertex. You could go ahead and plot or draw your coordinate plane. Go ahead and plot your vertex point of 2, negative 1. And then you need some points to the right or to the left of this. And I know that my parabola should be going up through that point. I know that point should be a minimum. And I can tell that once again because A was positive. So anyway, you could visually see that you need to plug in 3 or you need to plug in 1 to figure out what that point is. So we chose to plug in 0 and 1. 0 gave us 7. And then we had 1, 1. Your axis of symmetry will always pass through that vertex. It's always a dashed line. It'll always pass through that vertex. You can use the knowledge that this cuts your parabola in half. So this point will be reflected over that line at 3, 1. Where will this point be? How many places away is it from your axis of symmetry? 2. So it's going to go 2 places to, well, not 1, 2 places to the right. And then all you have to do from there is just connect your, try to make it U shape and not V shape the best you can. Okay, what is your axis of symmetry equation line, or axis of symmetry line of equation? How did we get it? X equals what? Good. X equals 2, positive 2. So vertex 2, negative 1, axis of symmetry 2. Okay, how do y'all feel about that? Are y'all okay with that? Kinda? Okay, number one, what's your vertex? Good, your vertex is -2, opposite of the number with 2, +2. What is your axis of symmetry? X equals -2. Okay, this time, I think instead of going ahead and making the table, I'm just going to show you. All right, we know that our vertex is -2, 2. So if you were drawing your coordinate plane yourself, just you want to draw it far enough that you have plenty of room to the left of X, -2, and plenty of room, of course, to the right of it. Okay, let's go ahead and plot our vertex, -2, 2. Okay, is our parabola going up or down through this point? Is this going to be a maximum point or is it going to be a minimum? Did not draw that. It's going to be a what? Good. It's going to be a maximum. Why? Good. Your parabola is going down because this number out front is negative. So our parabola should be coming down from both sides. But let's plug in. Tell me some points that you could plug in. We either need to plug in X values to the right or we need to plug in X values to the left. Which route do y'all want to go? All right, let's plug on. I would plug in to the right because you've got -1 and 0, which is always easy to plug in. This is where it gets fun though. Okay, so let's plug in 0, -1. You guys love fractions, right? That's why I said this is where it gets fun because we got that -1/2 to deal with. Okay, once again, be very careful about order of operations. People will do everything else correct and get here and just plug in wrong. What will this become? And 2 squared. Okay, so you get -1/2 times 4. Good. So you get -2 plus 2, 0. So it passes through 0, 0. And we said this parabola should be going down. So that matches up. Okay, when you plug in, this should have been, so sorry. My bad, guys. I messed up on that second part. Okay, this should have been -1 plus 2. So what does this give you? All right, good. You get 1, and then -1/2 times 1 is -1/2. And then plus 2 is what? Good. You get 1 1/2 or 1.5. So -1, 1.5. Okay, your axis of symmetry, once again, goes through that vertex and it splits the graph in half. So this point is one place away. So you got same point on the other side. This point was 2 places away from your axis symmetry, so go 2 places on the other side. And then just connect all of them. Okay, did you like graphing it, like sketching the graph better first that time than looking at a table? I think sometimes that helps if you just see a visual before I start throwing a bunch of numbers and tables at you. Okay, does anyone have any questions so far? Does anybody need to see another one, or do you want to work on your homework? Y'all good? Y'all see one more? Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're good and you want to go ahead and start your homework, you're more than welcome to do that. If you need to see another one, I was actually looking on your homework at number 10. So I'm going to do that one because it gives you big numbers. So I'll do that one with you. What? Yeah, I'm going to do number 10. It's on that worksheet that I just gave you. Do that one with you. Okay, what is your vertex? Good, 4, -4. Axis of symmetry. Always make sure you say x equals 2. X equals what? 4. You can also get the axis of symmetry by knowing, it comes from the x coordinate of your vertex, because remember, this line passes through your vertex. Okay, knowing that this is 4, -4, make sure, like imagine you graphing that point, it would be to the right 4, down 4. So make sure you draw your graph out pretty far. Okay, plot your vertex. Is this vertex a minimum or a maximum? Good, it's a minimum because your graph is going up because that number out in front is positive. So your parabola should be going like that through your point. Now pick some points, pick some x values either to the right or to the left to plug in. Which way do you want to go? I was gonna say, let's go to the left. What two, and it doesn't have to be, like, you don't have to plug in 3. You could plug in 1 and 0 if you wanted to. What do y'all want to plug in? Let's do it. All right, if I plug in 0, and plug in 1, Okay, what do you get here? You get positive 16, and then times 4 will give you 64, minus 4, 60. What a fun Y value. Awesome. Hang on. Wait. Am I 16 times 4, 32? All right. Double, yeah, you can always double check me. Are you good? Okay, here you get negative 3 squared, positive 9 times 4, 36, minus 4, 32. So we have 0, 60, and then 132 to graph. Your graph on your paper only goes up to 12. So in that respect, it may have actually given us less numbers if we would have plugged in something really close. Let's see. If I plug in 3, yeah, it will. And you get negative 1, so you get 0. So 4, 0. Oops, sorry. So if I plug in 3 to the left, you get 0. So either way. I don't know why your graphs, I don't know why they gave you going up to just 12. Anyway, all right, what we can do in that case, what increments on the y-axis do y'all want to go by? 5s, 10s? I tell you what, let's go by 5. And then that will be perfect. You can just erase that 12 because 5 times 12 is 60. Does that make sense? Or am I losing y'all? All right, just mark through that 12 and you can say that's 60. We'll go by 5s. Okay, 0, 60. And then the other point was 132. All right, axis of symmetry, we'll split that in half. So you've got this point that is 3 places away. So just go 3 places, and of course you're kind of estimating. So put it here. And then this point was 4 places away. So go 1, 2, 3, 4 places on the other side. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, you can work on your homework now. And I'm gonna get these notes posted for you guys.